What's good, everybody? This is MC Buster, your host of Buster on the Weekend. And I want to say before we get this episode cracking, I've done some editing during the middle part and towards the end of the episode, especially towards the end, because when we was almost done wrapping up the session, co-host, which is one of my best friends, his phone almost died and some other things that came up, and which I can understand that. But since the recording has come out pretty good, only just two slight errors. I just didn't want it to go away, so I tried my best to top and edit it the best way I can, and hopefully things goes out well. And for you all to say that you enjoy this episode as me and my co-host do some good basketball talk, and hopefully y'all will see us next weekend. Peace. All right, what's good, everybody? This here is the first, pretty much you say the first episode of Buster on the Weekend here. I am your host, MC Buster, and today I got my first co-host here. I don't know if I can say first co-host, but I'm gonna say co-host regardless. But this here is my best friend, more like a brother to me, man. This here is Nilja. Nigel, say hi to everybody.
What's good? Here on the Buster Show.
Yeah, man. All right, so for this little small segment, we're gonna just call it getting to know you. Now I'm gonna start with you, man. Tell people about you, a little bit about yourself.
My name is Nilja. Go by NJ. I'm here co-hosting on his show. I got my own show called Understanding Art. We kind of work partnership and things of that nature. We have some awesome topics that we want to be able to talk about, and that's the thing that I like to do. With my friend, we typically conversate about things on the sports collegiate level, things that are going on outside of our personal life, and having good topics and good vibes off those things. And that's the type of person I am. I like good vibes, and I want to be serving around the good people. Back to you, Buster.
That's good. That's a good introduction right there. All right, so far for me, my name is Melvin. But I like to be called MC Buster. And I've been doing this podcasting gig for about 3 years now. I started with a platform called Spreaker Radio, which is part of iHeartRadio. I had started pretty kind of slow. I had days that are hard though, although on a consistent basis. But right now, I'm getting back to it. Everything ain't gonna always start perfect, but long as you do your best to make it the best, you make it the best that you can make it. Well, pretty much to say that as long as you stay consistent at what you're doing, then things will get better. Put it that way. All right. So understanding art. It's pretty much a thing that I have been tuning into for about good couple years. I think that you started on it since like I probably said a year or two after graduating high school. So what's the topic that you have for that so far today?
Pretty much when it comes to understanding art, it's just about embracing positivity. It kind of touches every aspect of like what we believe in, even if it comes from God down to the letter Z. So that's all it's really about. being able to tell other people what we're thinking, expressing what's inside our diary by getting the video recordings out, pretty much.
Right. Yep. I agree with you on that though. It's a lot of positivity that that needs to be, spread a little bit more, within this crazy ass world that we live in now. Especially here, 2024 started off counting, you would pretty much say crazy anyway, especially with Cat Williams saying that all lies will be exposed. And 9 times 10 here, we see a lot of them that have been exposed already, especially, Drake with Drake being the master manipulator that he is now, and now that he's just clinging on to his life, just hanging on with that little pickaxe, off the side of the cliff, off the mountain. Man, it's just a lot of shit that been going on. But we'll start with the NBA. Of course, especially how the season has started off for certain players and for certain teams. Right now, the Milwaukee Bucks have a record of 8-9 so far. They had a missed start with 2-8, but right now it seems like they are picking things back up. On the day with Chris Middleton still being hurt, it's chances that that he might come back next week or so, and then you know this past Wednesday, I be was Wednesday. Russell Westbrook finally have reached 200 triple doubles. With all the triple doubles that he has been picking up on, especially since his OKC days, the last 3 seasons. Especially the season that he started off with averaging 31. I think it was 31, then 10 and 10. And so far, man, it's crazy like how a point guard, of his caliber, can pull off, crazy stats like that.
You got to mention.
Like,
I was gonna say, don't forget to mention he's the first point guard to record 200 triple doubles.
Oh yeah, first point guard so far, man.
Player, my fault, player.
Player, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that's a crazy stat. Him being only 6'3", guard size,
Yep.
pretty undersized for a player. And he's out there doing things like that. And you mentioned Mr. 200. I think that should be a lost record. Just like those that Will Chamberlain 100 points. It ain't no record, no videos out there about him scoring 100 points, but we got all that we need for Russell Westbrook.
Oh yeah. And surprisingly that he still is able to do it, even though now that he's taking on a lesser role, coming off the bench as the sixth man for the Denver Nuggets. How do you think? I want to ask you. How do you feel? About with that role, and how well is it going? How much of a great impact, a positive impact, that I could say is going to affect the Nuggets so far as when it comes to trying to chase another championship.
I think in the past teams that he's been on, this is by one of the better teams that appreciate him. Not like the Lakers, not like the Wizards, or those teams that he got away from, and cleared up from, like the Clippers. All those teams didn't appreciate the role that he played. And now that, not just based off the minutes or being a sixth man, him being a role player, definitely with his age, the chemistry is pretty much good with the Denver Nuggets. And I haven't heard too many complaints about him doing what he do, even when he's, playing the 3-ball or when he's driving inside or passing off. I haven't heard any complaints from Jokic or Jamal Murray, them saying anything about him. The head coach, from the coach to the assistant coaches, and he's been healthy, this whole season thus far. So that's the things that I look at. Like, he's been appreciated thus far since been on the Denver Nuggets. I don't know what report is out there about him, but I've been hearing some good things for him being on the Denver Nuggets.
Oh yeah, the first game, I can say that his debut, going to the season when they lost against OKC, I feel like it's probably the most disappointing debut that he had though. But it's slowly picking up for him. Especially the two performances that he had when Jamal Murray was injured, putting on almost 30 against Brooklyn. And then the game before they had like 25, I think. And it's still the all-star caliber player that is there, but it's just he know I feel like that he knows that he's not the star, the player that he used to be, and he wants to do right, and taking on a role that might not be the role of a star, but a role that's enough to help the team win games and helping them get further into the postseason. But so far as him, being a selfish player, then we got pretty much others that I feel that that's trying to protect their egos and shit. But we'll get to that. Later on. But going back to Milwaukee Bucks, it has been it has been some rumors that Damian Lillard is going to be on the trading block. I want to know that do you feel like there are a chance that those rumors are true? Because it has been a lot of articles and different pages like Bleacher Report discussing trades that's already supposed to been planned, even though that half the season hasn't even been here. So I want to know for you, as a fan of Damian, but even though that you're more a fan of the team that he used to be on, do you feel like that Milwaukee might move on from him if changes are not happening positively?
See, when we're talking like that, I feel like the conversation about Milwaukee and Portland, I already know Portland is a terrible team. Beside that, Milwaukee and Dame, when it comes to Dame, I feel like he had to live up to the expectation that he was given moving on from Portland. And whatever comes to him in his career, that is what it is, I felt like when the Lakers had an offer for him out there, even, trading for Portland, for him to come from Portland to the Lakers, I felt like at the time, what it was 2 years ago, that he should have took the opportunity to go over there with Bron. And the thing about that is you got to stand clear that everything that Dame has, from injuries to bad performance, bad defense, I'm talking about offensive games too, that affects the way that the Milwaukee Bucks play, because they gave up a lot of defensive talent and chemistry just to see that they win another chip. And nobody wants to sit on the milestone of not having nothing and looking at them bypassing more opportunities to keep on getting, better players, while Dame still have that age and that playing style that he have now. Something worth a trade, He's only an offensive player. We can't give him the defense. Got to rule that out. But yeah, I feel like if the trade does happen, then it's meant to be, Other than that, it's no hard feelings. You get paid to do what you do,
Yeah, it's pretty much when it comes to the business aspect. And you're right that they had all right. So things are not gonna always go perfect the first roundabout. Main reason why, because when you look down at the bottom of your screen and realizing that your battery was bleeding out and almost died. So I had to start the recording and patch it up with a little bit more of that energy juice to get it, crank it back up, and have that rocket send out to space. Let's do it again. Hey, all right. So the Philadelphia 76ers, you know, I feel like they pretty much made one of the worst decisions they did, especially when it comes to adding solid pieces to the roster in order for them to get a championship themselves, because they pretty much are into panic mode. And with the addition of Paul George being signed for 212 million, I feel like that is one of the worst decisions they pretty much made, because just like Kawhi, Paul George is pretty much on injury prone. Now, going back to pretty much a month and a half before the preseason started, well, he went on his own podcast saying that the Clippers were going to re-sign him for 3 years, 60 million, and he just said no. It's not even about the money. But the whole time, nigga, you got them going to a whole different team, signing for way more that the Clippers will offer you, because
Yeah.
you know that you are injury prone, and you down there like going to your mid 30s. He just turned 34 not too long ago. I feel like that the Clippers were doing right to give him that deal, because when you know that you slowly regressing as a star player and stuff, they know that you're not gonna be worth no 100 mil no more. But I'm guessing that he's saying that he declined because Kawhi Leonard is getting like what for another 4 years, 150 mil or so. And what's he doing now?
That ain't even a question, man. That ain't even a question. I know that bench looked pretty nice to him though. For both of them, really. Somebody at least taking up space for a 12th man. It's just crazy out there trying to figure out, like, dang, if you could be that good to be suited up and just be injured, you know what I mean? It's best to be looking good injured. But if I could be paid to get injured, then that means everybody inside the world, like that play basketball in high school or probably in college, should be getting those type of contracts, Like, not just because you got a name. Paul George don't even have a title under his name. Let alone, I don't even think he has a finals appearance. So why is he getting this type of pay? I think you should be giving that when you got people like Tyrese Maxey that played for the 76ers organization. They should be getting those, big contracts. People who actually stuck around and saw that y'all are at the bottom of the East, you should be giving those type of players that type of contract and build off what you have. At least with your younger core, letting Joel Embiid be the MVP that he is. Let him teach them players the rope. Not just take the ball away from him. Start getting him less time too. Because it's about, the reputation that you have as a 76ers organization. You got all that drama that's surrounded by it, just not because of the injury. That contract is probably one of the worst contracts, in NBA history. I'll say, aside, like you mentioned before, Jaylen Brown contract is one of the better contracts. That, some player that shows that they're dependable regardless of the role that they play. Behind Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown still, he deserves his contract. So, speaking on good, decent contracts, like, when are you going to open up space for something younger? When you going to start creating space for valuable, veterans that bring something to the table, veterans that don't want to overdo their role, players that are actually giving these younger players chance to learn the ropes, and pretty much, even if they had these younger players have a lower contract, allowing these veterans to come in and just change the atmosphere. Because I don't know what Paul George can teach these players other than to stay out of ICU or the ER. Just saying.
He pretty much cause he pretty much a bit passive on himself, you know. Cause like even at times when Kawhi them, you know, be hurt the way that he is, you know, it's supposed to be it's supposed to be up to him. No, I say up to him. It is no expected more out of him to carry to be more of the leader. If you know that one of the superstars ain't there like he's supposed to be, then it's supposed to be you. Especially in 2021 season, which was the last time that we reached the conference finals, that he ever reached the conference finals. And after that, it just just been first round exits. Even after 2014, it's just been first round exits.
I mean, in between that though, you had him when he had messed up his leg at the USA, you know, scrimmage, or was that the game?
I be it was a scrimmage.
Yeah, that occurrence when he got injured. I don't know. That bounce back was amazing for Paul George. It's just a simple fact. After that, we can't get the same guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
The footwork and all the steady shiftness, all that things that are to come. You know, Paul George been that guy, but saying like being like Shea, Chet Hilgram,
Oh yeah.
like all these new names that are coming about. You know, we got like a Porzingis who's sitting on the bench and playing his best role. We got Gordon Hayward who just retired because he know it was that time. You know, he was actually supposed to be Jason Tatum's. You know, if Jason Tatum wasn't a good star for the Celtics, Gordon Hayward, he came there and played his role for the Celtics. You know, and
yeah, his best season in Utah. That year, and that's the same in 2017. That was the same year he made All-Star on the All-Star team.
right. So I'm saying I was saying when you get these players who get these big contracts, you got to remember the value of players that are committed to their role and willing to help a team and an organization build. If a player is just all about the money but not actually the success of who they are, I don't think that contract would matter in the long run. Because that's like it's like you're groping the chemistry out of everything that you bring to a team, and that's why the 76ers are the way they are. And you got the Orlando Magics who basically build their team off draft picks and some key players that just come and go. You know what I mean? Like, that's the mindset that you got to be willing to have. I would just draft something before I go and sign that crazy contract for an injured player, and I already know the ropes with them.
Because it's just automatically handing this shit out like that just because they like a star player who averages 20 plus points a game, and next thing you know, you ain't even know like what the fuck is going to happen even in the first game in the beginning of the season. Then y'all just giving these crazy ass contracts out like that, especially well, I probably say for this new one contract here, like what you said like about when it comes to it's not like not it being about the money and stuff. Franz Wagner himself, speaking of the random magic, he signed like a supermax contract himself. I think like 200 some million. Do you think that is it that much of an early contract? Too much early, cause like he's just he's like into his third season right now. And when I seen like the news on Courtside Buzz Instagram, shout to them. They posted saying that he had got over 150 million. That shit crazy. I'm like what the hell he what did you really do to even get that much? And you wanna know what's crazy? Like on the Lakers, like they got a player on Lakers team on his name Max Christie. He got he got 4 years and 32 mil. And that's his second season. How the fuck you get that? Like
I
that's crazy
mean,
as fuck.
I mean, we're asking questions about the contracts and all, but I want to kind of tie another question into that.
Uh-huh.
We're as fans of the NBA, as fans of the sports world, but mainly the NBA. It's like, how do you feel about the viewership that's kind of tied into the way the players play, how the way these contracts are given, how the way that the teams are ultimately being run? I think. How do you feel about? Do you think the viewership ties into all that stuff? Quite frankly,
Well, man, it all goes back to uh I probably say around if I'm guessing, I'm not gonna say that I'm accurately right, but I probably say 2019, was when the viewership started to dip down a little bit because like it's not as competitive like it used to be before 2018 stuff. And so far as with the All Star games and stuff, I probably especially like the dunk contest, the 2022 dunk contest was just but like even the All Star game stuff is not even as competitive as it was, especially before 2017. You know, got that, and then players just just playing like players getting these contracts just playing when they want to and faking being hurt and shit. I probably say a great example is Joel Embiid, who said that bullshit too on the media about not playing back to back games, that he think that he won't be able to play back to back games and shit. I'm like, bro.
too privileged. That's what you get paid to do, right? But I mean, it it's it's crazy that we sit up here and watch the league go down in shambles. I'm not gonna say that it ever never ever be an NBA. It's in terms of, I feel like that the teams, the GMs and all those people should be stepping in and taking over their team and stop letting the players have so much of a say so. Only time a player should have a say so is if they retired, they did good by the organization, and they always had their hand in the team's success. Just like Dwayne Wade with the Miami Heat or LeBron James with the Cleveland Cavaliers. You had Vince Carter with the Toronto Raptors. Things of that nature. You get what I'm saying? So when it comes to these players getting these huge contracts and getting control of viewership, and I also think about with the referee issue that the
That too.
league or
That too.
the in general that the teams should be making a decision within the offices, not based off what the players think he say or she say. Other than that, like, it's been very critical that some of these GMs or the franchise is basically should be controlled by the managers, the people who actually have to be in the finance office and making those decisions, not just the players, because the players are kind of getting out of hands, getting too much of what they want, and they're dipping here and dipping there. And then when they leave the franchise in shambles or mess up over the franchise, then
Mhm.
they're blaming the coach and they're blaming the top executive. And we don't want that. So you don't want your favorite franchise to go down just because of one player. They're not really gonna matter if they only did 1 year worth of work. Get what I'm saying? So that's what I think about it.
So you saying that you think that Daryl Morey was alive?
Ooh, repeat that?
You saying that Daryl Morey was alive?
Yeah, may be the case.
Dang hard, man. Hell no. A great example to what you say is him because that man just been down like hopping from team to team and shit, just like on the Brooklyn Nets. Like they could have had something going, but like well, speaking of him. you know, so far, the Clippers are, man, I don't really know what to say for 'em. Like, well, Norman Powell had took a jab at Paul George, saying that with him leaving, it'll be more opportunities for players to sign more, which I can agree to.
Because he was nothing but lost space. I felt like Paul George being on the Clippers was kind of dead weight anyway. So he did some good things for the Clippers, but Norman Powell is right. Like I said, players being too much in control of their own, destiny, and having to say too much in what they're worth when they're not really worth that much. I'll say another example. If we're not just talking about the players, I'm gonna go back to pointing out the front office. You remember those days when the front office was the only ones aware of the trade situations, or something about a trade being rescinded and the value of a trade and the lottery pick now being the way that it is now? See, those things of honor, the NBA has no honor in there. And I think it's all about out of the money game, what they can take from another team or what they view that player as. Also along with the LeBron situation. With the Bronny, everybody was thinking that Bronny would be the top prospect of the NBA draft this year. And, it's a crazy case, it's a nut case to sit here and to let somebody... I respect LeBron, but I was just saying, like, there are other players who could potentially carry on a better, stigma than what LeBron's son was able to do. You see what he does in the G League. You gotta get vegetables. You get what I'm saying? You gotta get vegetables and fruits or whatever inside your system. Body up and be able to pull off a good shot too, and also limit those turnovers. He's a good defender, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying, like, what a player actually brings to a team needs to matter more than what they're out there paying them, because that isn't the matter of the fact. Like, the NBA has no value anymore in terms of that, and it's like, I'd rather watch some other NBA type level team or caliber, like a league that is out there doing something like a semi-pro team, because it's going to be more honor than that. Though we don't have the same conversations about who we know that are in those different leagues.
Right. And add more to the Brooklyn situation. Now they're saying that the only time that he's going to be playing in G leagues is going to be at the home playing G leagues at the South Bay Lakers home court. He's not going to be playing away games. Do you feel like there is too much extra treatment to give to a player?
I felt like I said, it's more than a privilege. Like him just being LeBron's son, he should be living up to those same expectations that every other NBA player who had to fight to get into the league, or the 1.6% of players that are even eligible to get bypassed, or the 6% of college players that are accepted from high school levels or from across seas. Did you hear the statistics on that? You can look it up. It's very, very rare to become a college basketball player or even an NBA player. There's a lot of people out there that trying to get the same position you are, and you're taking days off from showing up to this game and that game. I mean, you didn't do it when you was in the NBA games. You were just playing in Cleveland before you had went down to the G League, wasn't it? Or am I mistaken?
That was the last game that he was at NBA playing against Cleveland. Even though their ass were getting blown out, they had to put him in the last 4 minutes of the game, and he just scored with 2 points. That was the first 2 points in the league. Then out there, they just said, "Fuck it, we're gonna see you down there."
I mean, it wouldn't make a difference. Like, we all know what it was, and we all know the stats that wouldn't be worth contributing. You know what I mean? Like, he's not Reeves. He's not. I'm not even gonna put out no names because it seems like I'm being biased. That's because LeBron's son. It's more important to remember that it's not fair to other players that actually are, out there giving their blood, sweat, and tears to something that because a man that carries the same weight of, he's a legend. LeBron's a legend, but his name carry weight that they're going to allow his son to come in and mess up other opportunities for real ballers. Like, you got real ballers out there who are not given a chance, and the NBA shouldn't even be worth that anymore. I wouldn't watch the game because of stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's taken away from the game. What it's worth. You know what I mean? You're taking away from, you're making it criminal just to be up here and take away from people who are real ballers. Hell, I could have said I was a real baller, but to each his own. I mean, I know I could beat Brandon 1-on-1. I'm just bullshit. But I'm just saying though, and the chances that there are real players out there with players that are not given real chances, that is sick for real though. That's really the argument. That's the case.
Yep. Mainly because the word nepotism. And, that word has been going wild lately. But I can say like so far, the only NBA legend son that I know who is doing pretty good is Scottie Pippen Jr. on the Memphis.
I was thinking of that.
No,
I was thinking of that.
I gotta give him his props though.
I'm thinking along with Desmond Bain, his chemistry with Desmond Baines, with Ja Morant, all them, and the coach system that he's fitting in with his role.
Oh, yeah.
I've been hearing a lot about him actually.
Yeah, then they just recently beat the Bulls not too long ago, and he scored about like 20 plus points in that game. Beat Chicago Bulls 142 to 131. Man,
there have been a lot of win-offs. He had like 20 plus games at the time that I was watching. But the season is just early on. We're not midway. We're not even near midway. So.
Yep. So it's pretty more in store though. A lot of shit gonna be more in store. But speaking of the Lakers, what you thought about the last minute of that fourth quarter?
Yeah, are we referring to where LeBron James played all those minutes and put up all them points, and then Anthony Davis go and break the free throw, and you have I don't feel like calling no names out, Wagner, but yeah, you had a white boy go up there and bang that shot. Like, he spaced the floor. You really let this man just walk up the court and. LeBron, somebody tried to say that LeBron said that he traveled. I don't know if that's an excuse. LeBron shouldn't be saying nothing about traveling, but it was pointed out in the video.
See, he been traveling a lot all his life. See, Mexico and everywhere, man. A lot of videos of that be traveling.
I feel it was a fair match. I feel like that was you got it's crucial to make those free throws. You cannot miss those free throws. You cannot rebounds and free throws and keeping turnovers down will keep you in the game, and it will save you better than anything. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
Cause you're giving too many possessions. Anytime you look at not crashing the boards, not getting those offensive rebounds. When you look at turnovers, you passing the ball to the other team or giving them more possessions. When you giving up free throws, you leaving points off the table. They're free points for a reason. Free points. Not free throw. Free points. That's what I'm gonna say. Free points. You leaving the opportunity off the table to keep the game going for you. Yeah, free points. Literally free points. And it's like, you can't leave the opportunity off the table. I ain't talking about you going out there missing a shot. You know what I mean? But you're really in a position, you're at the line, you concentrated. Nothing is really too much distracting you but that goal. And you go and break it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have a contested shot. It's nowhere in hell. Anthony Davis is over 3% shooter. And he's sitting up there missing a free throw.
One of the top leading scorers so far, man. Down there averaging what 32. He been doing what 32 points per game so far. The beginning of the season.
Yeah, and that's still crazy to miss a free throw. I don't care
Yeah,
what you
it's
say
still.
about.
I'm not saying that I'm disagreeing though. I agree with you, like him, like being the top lead scorer, and missing shots like that in crucial moments. Yeah, that's still fucked up. It don't even matter. The game was still lost
But
because
they had that
of
lead.
those
Remember that?
simple shit. They had the lead. That was up on them board by what was it 10 points? Going to
Yeah,
10 point going to the fourth or so.
yeah. They had the lead the whole game, just about. Matter of
Man,
fact, you
I,
speaking on leads and stuff. We need to talk about how the way the Cavaliers got outdid and lost their winning streak due to the Celtics.
I see,
You
man. I
failed to
like that's
mention
a
that of
close
all
game,
things.
man. They had one of the best starts to the season so far. 15 on, man. I like, man. I
No,
said,
but we ain't gonna talk about. We ain't talking about the fact that Darius went out there and all you seen was like bricks getting smacked to the ground. Like the ball was like literally a brick flying and hitting the ground and stuff, or you know what I mean?
uh-huh. Man, it's just
Those
crazy, man.
those free throws wasn't it either. You know what I mean? The whole team just certain players look good. Spider, he looked good. You know what I mean? He was doing his thing, but Darius Garland, he's like Garland. My fault. I keep on forgetting how to say his name. But yeah, he
Gary,
was out there looking like he was too tameable. The boy was spigot. He was caught into a rat trap. You don't know what was going on with that dude, but his offensive performance was not it. The Celtics, they went out there and they did the thing as told as a team. You know what I mean? But you made Jason Tatum look like, you know what I mean? He was superseding everybody, like a all-star that he's meant to be. He
oh
was
yeah,
out there doing everything, and you know what I mean, like scoring the three, scoring the two, wherever you needed him to place the ball, he was doing it. He was
oh yeah.
playing a good bit of defense, and then you was getting Brown on the other end, dunking on folks. So that was just a good game
Oh yeah,
for the Celtics to play. I guess they wanted to
oh yeah.
prove a point, and they did. So
Yeah, they doing what's right, man. They like that's for any team. They know that the other team is pretty much struggling, in an important game. Then it's only right to strategize and strike hard and give them right there. And that's what
day
they
in and
did.
day out,
Yep.
right? Day in and day out, you got to be prepared, cause woof.
Yep. My brother Kevin had asked me like 5 minutes before you had before I had called you on Facebook. He had asked me that do I think that the Celtics will win again on the next year. I told him, man, I don't know.
It looked like too
Now
much
I ain't gonna
competition.
yeah, it's too much competition right now. Like how the Cavaliers starting off and shit. Then you got OKC coming up. Even though Seth Holmgren is he's down for about 8 to 10 weeks. Then you got Golden State on the other side and stuff. Man, it's just man. Then Boston doing that thing.
You
But
look
I
at
just huh?
I was going to say, you look at the league now, it's kind of crazy that we sit here and be like, this isn't a good time for basketball, but every team is out there is like fending off for themselves, and whatever player they can really hold on to, they don't know no way around that. You got, like you said, the Golden State Warriors. They were the underdogs, and some people thought that, you know, Klay Thompson not being a contribution, him being over there with Dallas, who's at the bottom of the West, they're struggling to get back up too, with these top tier teams. And
Now, that
then
whole that whole last week that I seen all their games from November 8th to the 14th. Well, I would say last week, like the week before last. They lost like damn near the whole like damn near 6 games. You know, especially that game against Utah was probably what really what really pissed me off. They're like, what the fuck is Zuka doing? Just standing there and just let John Carlos go in for the slam. So man, cause
Luca,
like that's the one against Utah though. Cause but it's just with that fuck up right there.
I tell you the type of player Luca is. Luca is the type of player who, when you were in high school, y'all used to play gym basketball,
Uh-huh.
full court. Luca is the type of player he would want the ball. He want to control how the offense is going, and him making the calls and making it seem like he's really the greatest one out there or the best player out there on the court. Really, when he's not playing both ends of the ball, so it makes it hard to call him all around player. When people be like, "Oh, he has the ability to shoot and pass," but that's the only thing you know him for. Like, if you're talking about his efficiency is like terrible. He's damn near like I'm talking about small Isaiah Thomas. I'm talking about the Celtics Isaiah Thomas. I'm talking about the one that was kicked out the league. I'm talking about DJ Augustine type of defense. When I mentioned a player with bad defense, I'm
Right.
saying like it makes it hard to sit there and want to watch a player do that to themselves,
Right.
and get called an all around player. You got to play both ends of the ball, not just.
But that's crazy. Like it's crazy, man. Like how what people using that all one player thing, and then you not even seeing like what else can that person do? Okay, yeah, you can do a triple double, a double double. You score 30 all day. Okay, what else? What else you can do? Dang one side. And especially when it comes to helping your team win, like you can sue all day, but are you gonna play defense on the other end of the court? Man. This has been people out there watching. This has been the very first episode, man, to Busta On Da Weekend on the very new platform, Riverside FM, man. I'm glad. I'm hoping that everybody enjoyed this episode here, man, with my co-host, my best buddy, Nilja here, man. As we discussed on in NBA talk, I will see y'all next weekend. Again, this has been MC Buster here, Buster On Da Weekend. Peace.